Welcome back to the Exchange Place, y'all. Hey, y'all. What's up?
What up?
Amber just had me over here about to laugh on the intro, just so y'all know. I can't. Y'all have no idea what goes on behind the scenes. Hey, Am.
Hey, booby. I miss you. I do.
I was about to say.
But I don't see you as much anymore.
Yeah, I guess.
We make time.
I was about to say, I just saw you. We just celebrated your birthday.
Hey!
Hey, happy birthday! You're a big 35.
Yo, I've been like celebrating like I don't got no birthdays coming.
Yeah,
but
that's
look,
like, you know
but
how
that's
I
how
feel
you're
about
supposed to do that though.
Yeah,
I feel like you're supposed to
month.
celebrate like it shall last because you really don't know if it could be, right?
Yeah.
So.
And honestly, I mean, you deserve the whole month. It's a
Thank
short
you.
month anyway.
You know what I really feel like about my birthday? Like, it's like one of the times of the year that I could truly focus on the love that people, I don't want to say owe me, but the love that people graciously give me because I celebrate everybody's everything, do everything for everybody. I'm not really big on Christmas and Thanksgiving and those types of things. I love the fellowship of it, but I don't get into like the gift giving part and all of that stuff, you know, whatever. But like my birthday, like birthdays are holidays, and I treat everybody's birthday like it's my birthday.
You know how I feel about birthdays, so
you know,
we have to explain.
We was in Arizona for your birthday.
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah.
And yours is a colder birthday, but we was, you know, we was in our snowsuits. Listen,
we were
in our snowsuits.
It was a good time, guys. You got to follow on Instagram. You would have seen it.
We had a good time. And we still going to have birthday lunch after this. So, hey, y'all. So, first of all, I wanted to thank all the followers, subscribers.
Yo, it's really growing. How about let's talk about your viral moment that you just are being so humble about.
What viral moment?
So, Deb had a viral moment. I'm going to tell it because she's so modest.
I feel like that's not a viral moment.
She had a viral moment, guys. Your one episode in particular, Suffering in Silence, went viral.
I don't know if I consider it
went viral.
Okay.
So, guys, she went from like, I'm going to tell it, because she went from like 200 subscribers to 1.4K subscribers.
Yeah, I'm almost at 1,500.
That's amazing. That's amazing in such a short time.
Look,
Yes, you have to take, listen, I give people their flowers because what you may see as small is inspiring to the next person because you inspire me. Like, you are the reason why my podcast exists because you pushed me into that level. So, I really felt like, you definitely did a little more to help. You did a lot more to help. You've probably been the closest person to me in this journey and like helping me piece it together. So I, honest to God, when I saw, I was like, Dad, wait, hold on. You was like, oh, I got an email. I think I'm gonna be monetized. I said, bruh, I found it. I found it for her. I'm telling you, y'all, she's so humble. I was like, no, you went viral. Look, this is it. Look at that episode. It's this episode right here. It had like over 5,000 views.
I think it was like 5,000. Yeah,
it's over 5,000 views, and it boosted her subscribers over 1.5K. So over 1,000 people have gotten the opportunity to experience the Exchange Place, and you should be extremely proud of yourself.
I am proud, but I think I'm humbled because I feel like that is just such a great space.
It's amazing. And like, you have not done this for a year, so you should be.
Look, wait. We will hit a year technically on the 3rd.
Do you
March.
not know how dope that is? It's people who have podcasts out who have been out way over a year, and they trying to get 100 subscribers.
I know.
You don't like, but behind the scenes,
I'm doing a lot. So
you're doing a lot. She educates herself. She gets knowledge. She spills that knowledge over to me. Sometimes I don't move as fast. She kind of like really got to kick me. Sometimes I just be having so much going on. I just
be like,
come on, Em, let's get together. I think that's dope. I think your investment into yourself.
Yeah.
And creating some boundaries between everything going on around you. And making time for yourself. That listen, if I text that phone, she'll be, I'm in class. I'm like, oh, my bad, girl. Go back, get your education on. But that's dope.
I just feel like, hey, invest more in what we put in us than on us, right? Mm-hmm. And my mentor always is teaching us that, and I just feel like you get to reap the benefits of that when you invest in what you love and build structure for yourself. And build structure in that. That's another reason I'm doing. I got an ebook coming out, y'all.
Amazing! Can't wait. I'm super excited about that.
So for my anniversary, I thought what better way to give back to people. So just creating something. And I was just talking about this to our amazing engineer that, there's so much stuff that I wish I knew before I started my podcast, and that this year, y'all, whoever wants to be a podcaster or aspiring or thinking about starting a podcast, I just think, and this is not a sell just for my book. It's just like, there's so much things to consider to sustain a podcast.
Because it's not just putting something together.
It's not just throwing something together. It's a lot of structure. It's a lot of planning. It's a lot of preparation before the execution. And you want to have that in place because it'll keep you consistent, right?
So here's what I'm going to do for 3-3.
What you doing for 3-3?
So if any of your listeners, it got to be 3 of them, and y'all better be watching the show, and you got to drop a comment. I'm going to give 3 people your ebook.
Aww, definitely I love that. I love that. Yeah,
I'm gonna do that.
Aww. Okay, so y'all
you gotta listen to this episode.
Y'all gotta listen to this episode. You definitely gotta drop a comment.
And you better be a subscriber.
And you better be a subscriber because I can check.
Yep. So definitely, that's my gift to you. I'm very proud of you.
Aw, thank you. Oh, wait, I'm proud of you too because you got a book coming out too.
Oh yes. I do have an ebook coming out, which I'm really extremely proud of. It's kind of like telling my journey about like how I ended up losing like 70 pounds and kind of like just letting people know that you don't have to subscribe to us. We go through all of these diets and things like that, like taking that pressure off of ourselves. The overall goal is to make sure that you are healthy. The overall goal is to make sure that you could do something that you could stick to. So I just want to just show people and tell people about what I've learned in my journey. Yeah. And it's called because everybody knows sometimes I flirt a lot with being vegetarian.
Yeah. You have me flirting with it a little bit.
Yeah, and I teach a lot of people.
I like it,
it's really good. So the book is called I'm not vegan, but I love to eat meatless.
Yeah.
So it's really fun, and it tells like different recipes and my journey and how I began.
Is my smoothie gonna be in there? I'm just asking.
No, I can't
not
give
for
y'all
y'all.
the secrets.
Okay.
All right. About the show.
We gotta get back to the show, y'all. All right. So there's something that you said earlier that I want to talk about, and today's show is actually about boundaries.
Wow, dope. Yep.
And I really wanted to talk about that, and like you mentioned, putting those boundaries in place is actually something that I've struggled with.
I know that. I can see that.
And I think for the listeners that are listening, I think a lot of people struggle with it, especially if, and I'll share this about you, about myself, is that I've always had that, that hero come to the rescue syndrome or identity, whichever you want. And people who are people pleasers, I feel like struggle so hard. And I think I've struggled at different points in my life with kind of being that, coupled with that hero syndrome. So being the person that comes and saves the day to the rescue.
The cleanup woman.
The cleanup woman. And also having a people-pleasing spirit in certain places and spaces. So sometimes it's very hard for me to put those things in boundaries and not be like, okay, I hope I'm not
hurting somebody.
Even not hurting them, but not being there for them. And I've had to learn. It's been a process that God will take care of them. If you don't step in, they'll be okay.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Definitely.
But balancing that. So I know that you have boundaries in place, right?
Definitely.
But I know you haven't always had boundaries in place. I know. So I really wanted to speak to the listeners that may be struggling in that area, that need to figure out how to put those boundaries in place and keep them in place. Because I think there is a difference. I have, and I'm guilty of, have put boundaries in place with people and then going back on them. And I think, again, like I always say, we teach people how to treat us.
Absolutely.
So where they're a little confused on like, hey, well... which one is it? You know what I mean? And it may be different things at different points, but really setting some hard boundaries, or hard maybe for the person that's setting them, and having people understand them.
So I can tell you about what helped me with boundaries, and I think it starts at the core for me of choosing better people, right? Because I feel like, I have... this. I have a very touch and go spirit, so I have the ability to make everybody feel close. but I know who's really close to me. Like, you get what I'm saying?
I have that too, in a bad way.
So
sometimes.
when being like that, what happens is that everyone thinks they're equal in your life. Everyone, and here's a harsh reality: everybody is not created equal in your life. They're not. Like, you get what I'm saying? So I had to learn to choose better people because, you know, and I have an inclusive spirit. So from being a kid, I don't like bullies. I don't like people who, anybody who's an outcast, I embrace those people probably even more because I didn't want them to feel like they didn't have a place in the world.
Yeah.
But sometimes in that, people can become very dependent on that emotionally, so you have to be very clear with people. I do have a set of friends who are my close friends. These are people I trust with my feelings. These are people I trust with my experiences. And there are other people that I love them to death, but I don't consider them close to me. And where I say you have to choose better people is that I've noticed, like, anytime that I struggle with boundaries, it was a certain type of personality that was around me that made that difficult for me to put in place. And there were times I probably didn't as outspoken as I am. There were times that I can be very outspoken, but I don't like to hurt people I love. And I don't like them to feel uncomfortable, but that sometimes have been at the detriment of me. And I had to really say, you know what, Amber, if you learn to, because here's the thing, if I choose better people, not better, and when I say better, don't think that somebody is not good enough. That's not what I mean. People who have a better understanding of what boundaries are. My own friends have taught me boundaries. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, hey, listen, I kind of don't want you to just call me, kind of text me first, like, before you just pick up the phone and call. And I'm okay with that. It doesn't bother me. I don't get offended because there are times I felt like that. Like, I'm like, kind of like, hit me first. We do that with each other.
Yeah,
like, we'll be like, can you talk? Yeah, like, can you talk? Because I don't want to berate you with whatever I have going on if you're not in the place to hear me or really kind of like take in what I'm saying, and I have to be considerate of what you have going on. And I feel like when you choose people like who have a better understanding of what that is, they are less offended by what you need to be a good friend or a good sister, good daughter, whatever to you. Like, you know, I had to put boundaries in place with my family, with my children, with I think the biggest boundary lesson I learned was in marriage. Like, you get what I'm saying? Where I was just like I felt like I was like a cleanup woman. Like, you get what I'm saying? It was like I obligated myself to this idea that, well, you're a wife, so you gotta be this, you gotta fix these things, you have to do this. But I wasn't really teaching the other party that it's not fair to me to be like that. You get what I'm saying? Where it's like you're permitted to do certain things that could be detrimental to our home. You get what I'm saying? But in my mind, I'm like, well, I have to fix it because I'm the wife. I'm assigning myself like a responsibility, but kind of relieving you from your part of responsibility. And I don't think that that's fair to do anything. So I think when we learn to choose people who better understand this, and you're not going to always know this. I didn't know this because people pride themselves like, I'm a good person. But like, what does that mean?
I don't think people know what that means.
What does that mean? Like, oh yeah, I'm a great person because I let you run all over me.
But I was about to say, I think in different seasons, it's funny when you said that, I was brought back to a relationship that I was in that I thought I was doing the right thing, right? But in actuality, I know that I created a monster.
An enabler.
I enabled someone to not take responsibility and feel like kind of that cleanup woman thing that, hey, I cannot do this because I'm not ever worried that we ever going to be homeless or anything else is going to happen. There will be any consequences attached to it because I would take the brunt of whatever that was, and whether that meant get another position, work more, you know what I mean? Whatever that meant. And I think I'm 100% sure that it ruined the relationship because eventually it made me bitter, right? It made me
resentment.
I was about to say, it made me resent the fact that I had to, or felt like I had to clean up at this point because that person had no responsibility in that area. They don't, and I don't say don't now, but don't feel or didn't feel the actual pressure of what really rested in them not doing. It's like, it doesn't matter. It's going to get done. And the expectation was that I was going to do it. So it took me a long time to put boundaries in place for that. And actually that stopped the relationship outside of like actually being a relationship, but even interaction, because it was like, who is this person?
Yeah.
Like, it was a surprise to them of like, no.
Oh, they hurt. Boundaries hurt people.
I know. It was like a no.
It's kind of funny. Like, most of the time that I set boundaries in place, because here's the thing. I extend people grace a lot. Probably more than people will agree that I do, but I really do. I extend grace silently, though, because I don't, like, the reason why I extend it silently is because, first of all, I'm a person, and I know sometimes things happen. We have funky moods. Like, it's life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Life be lifing.
We life.
Yeah, life be lifing. Right? So I extend grace, but I don't announce the grace because it's kind of like, you know.
I don't think you should have to.
Right. You shouldn't have to. And I am going to have a limit of how much stuff you're going to be able to get away with. Like, and unfortunately, I've lost close friends due to setting boundaries in place. Crazy story, you know, I used to be friends with someone, and I remember I had gotten into a relationship, and, you know, we may have hung out a lot and did certain things or whatever. I mean, I used to be a hot girl sometimes, you know what I mean? But, like,
I can't with
it is what it is, right? So I was a hot girl at some point in my life. And, like, you know, that was a time, you know what I mean? Like, and we go through those times when you're single, right? You may go out more. Like, my level of singleness is way different now. But, like, at that point of being single, I was more outgoing. Let's go out. Let's hang out. Let's go to a bar. Let's do this. Let's do that. Oh, I could talk to this guy, that guy. So I actually got into a serious relationship, and a lot of those things changed. Now I'm available to go out. We can have a nice dinner and stuff, but I'm not going to do things that disrespect
who you're
the
with.
relationship, right?
Absolutely.
And at that time, that person was in a relationship, but they did not respect their relationship, right? So I was being used, I felt, as a pawn in certain areas where it was like, oh, I was the cover-up person, right? So if you're out doing something wild behind your partner's back and you're using my name, and I had to say to that person, hey, can you not do that? Because it gives me a bad rep when I'm actually committed to my relationship and what I have going on. And I'm not judging the space that you're in. Listen,
yeah, that's your business.
That's your business. But you make it my problem when you're saying, oh, well, while I'm out doing these bad things, I'm with Amber. You're not with me, though. Yeah. And you're telling me, oh, I said I was with you. And I had to say, hey, listen, don't do that, because I'm in a relationship and we don't know who knows who, right? So my man could think that I'm at home chilling like I said I was.
And
you're right. And I really am, because, like, home is bae to me. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, I might be a very outgoing person, but I genuinely enjoy being home. And they may think that I'm out doing whatever with you because you've already put it out there. So your partner already has a resentment towards me because they feel
a picture of you
as a picture of me based on what you have assigned my character to be, but they're not. Well, they are not. They don't think highly of you either, but they feel that I'm the person who helps you carry out whatever it is that you do. And think about a hurt person like that. What are they going to do? Like, oh, she's out with her friend who do this, and that. And then that information could carry from one person to the next.
And could get back to
and it's like, when I know I'm not doing something, I don't really, come on, nobody appreciates hearing certain things about themselves when they know for a fact that they're not doing those things. Yeah. So, you know, that kind of was like, on top of other things, they're like, so I started having a distaste, like, for going out with you, because if I know, because here's the thing, I could say that to you, but I didn't trust that you were still respecting me in that way. Do that make sense? So you may have given me the courtesy, right, to initially just say, hey, I used your name, right? But now that you know I have a problem with it, the only thing that may change now is that you're going to not tell me that you said that to your partner. So, you know, like, and I got seen as a friend who's not down. I got seen as the friend who oh wow, or whatever. That's the thing. Like, I think, especially when it comes to boundaries, that people are ever changing. I always tell people, never get committed to this version of me.
Yeah.
Because I'm ever changing.
You know what I heard, and I want to share this, and I can't remember where I heard this, but that when you get married, say I do to the multiple people.
Yes.
And I was like, man, what does that mean? They kept on saying, like, say I do to a multiple people. And they were like, the person that stands before you will not be the person in 5 years, will not be the person in 10 years, will not be the person in 15 years. So say I do to all the different versions of that person. And I was like, wow, like, I don't think, and marriage is a different level of commitment, but I honestly don't think when we enter into relationship that we necessarily look at it from that perspective of like, hey, the person that I befriended here is not going to be the same exact person in 10 or 15 years. And we get so comfortable boxing that person in to what we think they are, and whether we met them in a painful place or a hurt place. Like I've experienced that tons of times of like, hey, when you met me, I was broke.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't mean financially
like,
broke.
no.
I mean broken, right?
Yes.
And you liked the broken me because it
benefited you. And sometimes you're also the person that's the distraction from your stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you
people
can look
use
at them
other
and be like,
I've definitely felt like a project to other people. Like, because in my lower times, I was probably a little more dependent. I was like opening up to people that I probably wouldn't have never opened up like that to. But that was my lack of wisdom and discernment,
that's
right?
but it was where
I was, but you were probably like, I was your distraction. Like, oh yeah, what was her? But it's like,
it made you probably feel better, or that person.
It made you feel better because now that I'm not in that space, you don't know how to treat me. Yeah. Because it's like, dang, you don't need me in the manner that I met you. That's why and it's so funny, like with certain friends, like anybody who knows me always knew I got money. Like, that's Amber. Like when I was like 18, like my brother could tell you. Anybody that knows me from years ago, like, yo, Amber, like when all my friends was in college and stuff like that, Amber was getting money. That's always kind of been who I was. Like, I've always loved great experiences, always loved going after my goals and my dreams and stuff. I've just always been a super ambitious person.
I was about to say.
I've never really been committed to any level of lifestyle because, like I said, I'm cool with change. Like, I'm ever changing. At the core,
that's part
at the
of
core,
life.
I'm me. Like, I'm kind, I'm genuine, I'm cool. I don't play that, but I don't like, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm cool with like adjusting and stuff like that. So even if you met me in a broken season. Yo, I've had more winning time than losing time. So you met me in losing time, so you don't know me in winning time. And that doesn't mean I discard you, I don't need you, but I may need you in a different way now.
Yeah. And I think we have to, like, I think what you said, and I want to go back to selection. I think you have to choose people that you really, and don't get me wrong for those who are listening, because I do think there are seasonal relationships that we enter into and like season, or lifetime. But I do think in choosing and like intentionally choosing friends or intentionally choosing relationships, we have to at least, I think, just take time to see where people are. And definitely. I don't think we take enough time, especially in romantic relationships, to get to know what people come with. Yeah. And like, because it's a rush to it's a rush to the altar. It's a rush to love. It's a rush to that, instead of like really taking our times and saying, who is this person? Right. And what do they come with? Where do they come from? Because all of that kind of goes into that person in a sense of like what you're going to get out of that, and how can they handle. If somebody suffers with or struggles with abandonment issues, right, and then they met you in a broken time where you're clinging to them, are they going to have a problem with you when you're no longer broken and now you don't need them as much? Yeah. More than likely, yes. Yeah. Right? And it's like, but we're never, I feel like we're not thinking about those certain things until they kind of pop up. And I think every relationship will be tested A, with conflict, and with the magic word of N-O. No.
Yeah. And like, honestly, I've learned to just be more honest about my expectations from my friends. Like, because I know it's like this thing where people be like, oh, expectations, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. Nah, not really.
I don't think so.
Because, like, even now
I have expectations
I have expectations from my
Absolutely.
friends. And the reason why is because when I did not have them, things went a lot left. Like, you'll feel more convicted if I already told you what time it is with me than if I didn't tell you what time it is and you just testing the waters to see how far you could go with me. Yeah. And, like, one thing, like, we could share even my birthday trip, right? My friends aren't friends. Like, they're not. My friends all know each other. Yeah. My friends all respect each other.
People don't like to say that, though.
Yeah, my friends aren't friends, and I'm cool with that. Like, you get what I'm saying? Because I ain't friends with all my friends' friends. Yeah. I ain't friends with, like, a lot of my friends' friends.
You know them, you respect them.
That's it. And I make it very clear now, and I say now because I didn't in the past, that, you know, the only thing I expect from my friends, like, I don't try to, like, group everybody together like that no more. In certain cases, like, when it's my birthday or it's other things, like, you know, obviously you're going to encounter certain people outside of me and our relationship, right? But I'm very clear on my expectations for my friends because, like, I make it clear, like, don't talk about my friends to me. I'm not telling one business to another about my friends. All I ask, you don't have to be friends with my friends. Just love and respect each other. Like, that's it. Because at the core, we're women. Like, you know what I mean? And if we're women, we have things in common more than we know.
Yeah.
And you don't have to discuss those things. But, it was 8 of us, right? It was 8 of us.
Yeah.
It was 8 of us at my girls' trip. Like...
It was dope.
Everybody left so full, like, you know what I'm saying? And my cousin pulled me aside and said, Amber, like, because she's never really been around my friends. She always be dissing me. Shout out to Ebony. She'd be like, I know, she'd be like, you don't never invite me with your friends. But those are my boundaries, right? Because, like, I put her in the section of family. Like, you get what I'm saying? And then I have my section of friendship. It's not that you're not invited, but this is, like, my space with ladies. And guess what? You don't really see my friends at my family, things like that, too. So I'm very careful in the structure of how people are placed in my life. But there will be times that you have to engage with one another. And she told me, she said, yo, I love your circle of friends. She was like, I love that y'all are all so positive because I'm very careful now with selecting people in my life. Like, and let me tell you something, a boundary I learned, I don't got no best friends. Don't with that. I'm not no bestie. And when I say that, it's because what happens is, in my experience, because I'm a very popular person, right? Like, I love a lot of people. I get a lot of love in a lot of places. But sometimes, based on where people are or how they've been brought up, they set in competition. It's like I'm more of Amber's friend. You don't have to do that because I love you for the reason I love you. I allow you into my life because of whatever I allow you into my life for. Your reason, my friendship with you and my friendship with Adia are very separate. Like, you get what I'm saying? Y'all are around each other in cases and stuff like that. Y'all love each other, right? But we have different connections for different reasons, and that's okay. And I don't place any of you higher than one another. You're just important to me, and that's it.
So I think where that comes is, we've had this conversation of possession of people.
Oh God,
I can't. I know we're talking about boundaries, but I wanna address that because I think people have, and I had a conversation not too long ago with Jaden about this. In regards to people wanting to possess their friends or possess people, and it's like you're not a possession. And if someone is trying to possess you, you belong to God or whoever you believe in, but you do not belong to people. And I think that is something, I don't know where that came from, but it's like that's like a real thing. Like people want to possess you. Like, oh, you're my friend. Like, yeah, I'm your friend, but that doesn't exclude me from being friends or connecting with other people. I've had that happen too in family. Like, you belong to me. No, yeah, we're blood, but I don't belong to you. And even in, it's not, and I think I put this up on Valentine's Day, because I think even in marriages or relationships romantically, it's like, it's not about ownership. It's about partnership.
Absolutely.
Like, you don't own anybody.
Right. I don't want to own anybody. I don't want to puppetize anybody. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, you are my friend. You're my friend for whatever reason. And that's like it. Like even, I'll give you a great example. Even me and my brother and I are 5 years apart. He has a section of friends, right? Sometimes I'm invited to their things. Sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I'm in their group chat. Sometimes I'm not. But my brother and I have very clear boundaries, and we are never offended by it. Like, I love that about me and my brother's relationship, because I don't want to keep gloating about my birthday, but like, even with my birthday, like, he was supposed to come to the cabin trip, but he wasn't able to make it due to personal reasons. And it was okay. Like, you get what I'm saying? He's willing to come around my friends, but if he don't, he cool. Like, you get what I'm saying? He's not gonna be mad if I say, yo, Alan, I'm going with my friends. He'll be like, all right, cool. That's it. Nobody cares. Like, it's kind of like, he has like a section of friends, and sometimes his friends will be like, oh, tell Amber to come. But if they didn't tell me to come, my brother goes to trips and all kind of stuff. Like I said, sometimes I'm invited, sometimes I'm not. I don't care either way, because he knows I have my life. We have separate lives. We come together when it's time, but nobody's offended when it doesn't happen. And, like, you know, I want to address one thing or whatever. Like, I tell my friends, you can tell me no. And the reason why I say that is because I don't want my friends to stress out wondering if they're disappointing me, if they really can't do something for me. Because if I can't do something, I don't want to feel guilt about it. So I really try to treat that situation like, how would I feel treated? But there are cases in my boundaries that I will overextend, probably beyond myself, for specific and certain people.
Do you think you overextend because you know that they would overextend for you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Okay. Listen, we can talk about your birthday trip. Dab said straight up, Amber, if you can't make it, I understand. Yeah, I know that, though. I know that.
For me, so my birthday is a big deal. Just like your birthday is a big deal, right? And I never want to place pressure on what my celebration, and you know, I will go on the trip. I will hop on a plane quick by myself, and like, though I would love people to come, I do not want, I understand financially, you know, everybody is not in that, I ain't in that place. I don't even look. I'm not in a place to.
We getting there. The money is coming.
To travel in the manner that I would love to travel, and you know that, or how I've even traveled in the past when I traveled a lot for work and was able to kind of couple that, right? So I'm always aware of that, and like my birthday trip was supposed to be way more people than that were able to make it. Even like, you know, Tamara wasn't able to make it. I would never. I remember her, and I'll use that. That's a perfect example. I remember her calling me. And I know her heart felt bad saying no to me. But do you know how much stuff and how many times and who she is as a person to me? Like, I could never, as much as I would have wanted her there, because I really wanted my birthday to not really be about me. I really wanted y'all to be able to get away and relax and, you know, clear your minds, because I knew everything that had gone on that year, right? So it was more of that, like, dang, I really wish everybody could come. But, like, I feel like I would be offended. I would be offended for myself. Like, how could I even be like, nah? If because she couldn't come. I knew it was a legitimate thing, and like, she always shows up.
Stuff.
Like she's right. It's not like that is a pattern. Like, oh, anytime I'm doing something or you're never there for me, I could never fault her for her having to say no. Like,
and
vice versa.
Right.
So getting back to you.
Right. So to talk about that, you know, like, just keeping it real from an entrepreneur standpoint, and some other entrepreneurs can agree, summertime is a crucial time in business. Business plummets around that time. So you're spending most of your fall trying to get back to what your norm is. And so this was like, your birthday was in October, so this was like right after a really tense summer for me in business. And I knew I was going to make a way, though. Like, you get what I'm saying? And Deb was like, Amber, it's okay. I know it.
Okay,
but here's the thing. I know it's
stress.
okay. I know that. I wasn't stressing, though, because I know that. You know me. Like, I'm going to make it happen, right? So I wasn't stressed, but I literally bought a one-way ticket there, knowing that I don't care what's going to happen. I'm going to get back. Like, I know I'm going to get back. I was working while I was there to still, like, make sure I could get back and be there and participate and stuff like that. Some things I could do, some things I couldn't. And nobody was like, oh, Amber, you can't do this. I was chilling. I wasn't mad. Nobody cares. Like, but that's, like, to me, choosing better relationships so you don't have to feel like that. But in my mind, I couldn't miss your birthday for the world. Like, you get what I'm saying? Because, and that's okay, too. I feel like that's okay in boundaries. When you know someone, like Deb is there for everything. Anytime we went out last night, Deb wasn't able to make it, but it doesn't matter. She was just with me a week ago. So I'm not going to be mad that Deb couldn't make it to one thing, like you said. Like, I actually had unfortunately, a fallout with someone once. Like, it's like, I was hurt by this, like, and it honestly still bothers me. You know that it still bothers me that someone I was extremely close to, right? I had to set a boundary in place because when they wanted to talk to me about something, and I wasn't in a good place to talk yet. I was on vacation, trying to get away, you know what I'm saying? And I was being bombarded by something that I said, hey, listen, when I get back, let's speak more about this, you know? And instead of them saying, hey, okay, I get it, they took it like, well, you posting on social media, you're doing this, you're doing that, you just don't want to talk to me. But how can you
that
not?
Could be true.
But here's the thing. First of all, this is my phone.
Yeah.
Let's go there.
I mean, right? But
it is. It's like, yes, I am posting. I'm on vacation. I am doing this. I am doing that. But here was what you don't know, right? What you see, that's true. What you don't see, I'm away with someone that doesn't know you like that. And I had dedicated my time to that person because they paid for a trip for us to get away. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't even think it was respectful to handle an intense conversation like that in front of someone, right? Two, I had so much on my plate. I was in Niagara Falls doing a freaking conference and a seminar on my last day of vacation before I was like due to leave. I had so much going on. I'm managing 19 other businesses. Like, I'm not in a place, and you have to respect that. Like, you get what I'm saying? And I think, you know, this is what I've learned to try to like reteach people about me is like, I will give you grace or two. A few times I gave that person grace because they got nasty with me. They did a few things that I was like, yo, all right.
You might have gave them too much grace.
I gave you too much grace. So now this third time, you can't even take that.
You can't take no.
You can't take no. You can't take hold on. You can't take give me a minute. You can't take that because where you are is no, you're going to deal with me now. And that's why I said when you choose better people, they don't have those type of thought patterns. Yeah. They would say, hey, listen, Em, you know what? You don't go on vacation often. You've been working like crazy because like around this time too, guys, like I had went through a lot to get myself back to a really good place, mentally, business-wise, financially, all of that stuff. And I was just kind of coming out. Yeah. And when you've been like at your lowest and you get out of that, you never want to go back to that. So if I got to work harder, smarter, do more, whatever I got to do to not ever see those times again, that's what I'm going to do. So that has nothing to do with you. You know what I mean? But I feel like, too, sometimes, like, people they've never experienced some of these things. Like, you get what I'm saying? And there are people who live with this level of entitlement that they don't respect that other people can tell you no. Other people can say, hey, listen, not right now. And I do think that's why I am more careful. Like, I watch how people behave now.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm
like, yeah,
watching.
like, nah, like, before I didn't, I would just be like, you're a vibe, you're fun, you're cool, we have good conversations, and kind of embrace you. And now I'm more careful with how I see how you treat life, how I see how you treat people around you, your situations, before I can kind of like let you in, because you'll be very, like, you'll be, I don't know, like, and I had a friend that I had to just recently teach things about me to her. Like, I was like, yeah, like, so when I'm doing certain things, I don't like people rushing me, because I get very anxious very quickly. You know that about me. I'm a very anxious person. Because I always am trying to make sure everybody is good, like, especially if it's on my back and it's something that's up for me. I don't feel right if everybody not cool. So when I'm in that space of trying to facilitate things, please don't rush me. I take my time, because I don't need to be like, because when I'm anxious, I can't think straight.
Yeah.
So
I think, so what you said, and I want to go back to real quick, is that, like, it's not always about you.
Right.
And I think that people need to, whether you're the boundary setter or the person that is experiencing the boundary being set, like, a lot of times it has nothing to do with you. It has to do with what makes that person comfortable and being able to accept, like, okay, they can't do it, or they're not able to make it. Like, I didn't take, and I'll go back to even Tamara, or if you weren't able to make it to my birthday, that wasn't a personal thing for me. I'm not taking that personal, like, oh, that's against me. Oh, you're not coming to my thing. Like, no, that's not about me. That is about whatever they have going on that they're not able to make it. And you have to understand that, because at some point that is going to be you. I've actually lost, it's so funny. While you're talking, I was thinking about I've been cussed out for, like, setting a boundary of something similar. Like, hey, this is going on right now. This is the important thing. You call my house on you already know, on a Sunday, wilding and cussing and whatever. And it's like, this is not the time. And then you won't stop. So it's like, oh, you're going to hit this phone. And if you can't get on this phone, you're going to get on that. And it's like, sir, no. Like, you know what I mean? Like, no, this is not it. This is not the time. And, like, stop. And people don't understand that, when at times, and I take fault in this, in the sense of, I've taught this particular person that bad behavior gets my attention.
Yep.
It's like a child. Like, when you do this, I respond in this way. And now when I've changed, like, no, that's a boundary for me. You're not going to ruin my day today. Like, this is not, you can't do this. This is a special
this
day.
My phone.
Along with this, my phone, this is my home, that you don't contribute anything to. You're wilding. And, like, take a minute and get yourself together before you try to have a conversation. Like,
and that's more about being responsive than reactive.
Yeah, like, you have to, whatever you're feeling right now, is not towards me. You're only taking it out towards me because you can't take it out. And you know what I'm saying, towards the person you really want to take it out towards. And it's like, you can't do that. And don't mistreat people that have treated you well.
But you know what? I think boundaries have a lot to do with emotional intelligence, though.
It does.
It has everything to do, and we've talked about emotional intelligence, and I think that, and don't get me wrong, I've probably been the bad behavior person too. I don't want to sit here and just say, oh, everybody does this to me.
I think we all have at one point.
I used to get offended, like, and I knew the place that I was in, probably like a few years ago, like this is 2022, 3 years ago. I remember feeling like a lot of people were against me, like, yo, how could they treat me like this? How could they act like this when I was only nice to them and da-da-da-da. But once I started, again, being more responsive than reactive, I kind of started, like, and you helped me with that, like, kind of like seeing where those people were. And it's funny because those people are starting to resurface again. And I don't feel as intense as I used to because I had to evaluate it. Some people don't know how to stand on their own too in certain situations, and that doesn't mean they're a bad person. It's just they may not have courage in those areas. Like,
absolutely.
So there are people, and when I say this, the better example to say is like, so for instance, if two people you love are not getting along and you're dead smack in the middle, right? Some people don't have the courage or maybe the strength to just not be a part of it. Just like, just say, hey, this is my relationship with you. This is my relationship with you. I probably feel best if y'all just don't talk to me about it or whatever. I just want to love you and I just want to lose you. But there are some people, I've been this person before in my past, where you choose a side. You know, and like I said, it has to do with, and in my emotional intelligence, that's something I've learned about people. I've learned to see, like, hey, you know what? I don't think what they did to me was out of malice, but out of maybe not courage to have that. And guess what? They're not a close enough person for me to even, like, why do I feel so intense? But that was where I was. Like, you get what I'm saying? Everybody's against me because I was hurt. Like, you know what I'm saying? And when you're hurt, you don't see clearly sometimes. So when you gain emotional intelligence and you kind of see, like, yo, and let me tell you something. Age and wisdom are not connected.
Child.
So
it's some old food.
Right. No, seriously. And a lot of the stuff that I've gone through, I just turned 35. But the things that I've gone through with a lot of people, they're 10 years older than me. Like, and it's,
there's no
it's
connection.
Sad. It's like sad, but I had to learn also that age and wisdom are not connected.
Also
and
self-awareness.
And self-awareness. And also too, I feel like a lot of times I'm the lesson that teaches people about boundaries. Like, you get what I'm saying? And when I say that, it's like people may have always yesed you to death until you met Amber. And that doesn't mean I'm saying no. It could be like not right now. It could be like, hey, I can't at this moment or whatever. Like, you get what I'm saying? Or I'm not available. But I could sometimes feel like I'm always that person to teach people that. But again, that was my people selection. Finding like brattier spirits, like people who are bratty, like, oh, I gotta get my way, or I need your attention right now. And like,
do you think in the beginning you condone that behavior?
Absolutely. Okay. Because honestly, I am a person who accepts you how you are, but that junk ain't about to impact me like that. Like, you get what I'm saying? I accept you for who you are, but if it negatively impacts me, I'll definitely distance myself from you. I'm very flighty, guys. Like, that's the Pisces spirit. We will take flight. Like, you're not gonna do that. We will swim away. But like, not
Dory.
No, like, listen, Dory in the building. But like, no, but seriously, like that is something that I know about myself. Like I a great example, I was in a friend group with two young ladies, and I ended up being closer friends with someone I'm very close to now. In that group, I started seeing a person like in a manner that I didn't really like. Their behavior was aggressive. It was over the top. It was too much. And I started distancing myself from that.
I was about to say, I think we all do it.
So at first it seemed cool because we were all bosses and we were all like, yo, we had this one thing in common. But when it came to how I treat life, how I treat people, I saw that me and that person did not have too much in common. And their behavior, because my thing is, I don't want to be around people I can't really treat you how I want to treat you. So if I feel like I'm going to be mean to you or annoyed with you or be distant with you or I can't be my natural self. It's harder for me to diss you than be nice to you. So that dissing you takes effort. So and I feel convicted in my spirit when I do that to people. So I feel like, dang, Amber, you kind of like not beat for that person, or you ain't really with it. You ignoring their calls. Like you don't really want to be around them. I feel convicted in my spirit, and I honestly don't think it's fair to treat people like that. So I will be like, hey, listen, that's not a close relationship for me. But monitoring, and I do pay attention to those things now. Like, okay, it's a, for me, like, I don't like when people call me on certain days. I don't like when people call me at certain times. I don't like people calling my phone before 8 a.m. Unless we have that level of relationship, don't do that. I dated people who had an issue that I went to the gym so early. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, and it was just like, oh, you can't skip a day? Nah, you out of here because you already going to be problematic.
Yeah. I think that's I don't know if that's even boundaries. I think that, I don't even know what to call that.
That's like, oh, you can't skip a day? Why I got to skip a day?
Yeah. I don't even know what to call you. You like the idea of me, but you don't really like me. I think that's
God,
in that. But I'm just saying in that sense, because if I met you and that's what you do, whatever that is, whether that's the gym or whatever, I don't know if that's necessarily a boundary. That's like, hey, this is who I am.
Yeah,
it's like don't try to change.
Remember we had Deb and I had a conversation because I had disconnected with someone and I was having an upcoming event. Remember, and you were like, well, do you think the person could still participate? And I said no.
Yeah.
And you were
I respected that.
Yeah.
I was like, I just didn't know. I didn't know at that point. There was so much kind of awareness on your part of like who that person was, right? Mm-hmm. Definitely awareness on my part because I'd be like, that's your friend. That's definitely not my friend. And I always was like that. Like, because I know how to respect who you have in your life. As I should. I just, that's yours. So the person wasn't a bad person. I just knew wasn't a close person for me. And just even outside looking in, and I didn't know that person well at all. But from the outside looking in, there's just something I used to always say that was just unsafe for me as a person. And you know how I feel. You can't come here. So, and I think sometimes people misconstrue whether I'm supporting you business-wise or just being like, I'm going to always be nice.
I'm genuinely kind.
I'm genuinely a nice person, right? But because I'm nice to you doesn't necessarily mean I accept you into my space or want you in my space. So I think the reason I asked the question was there were several incidents that I was aware of, not even outside of you, that I was aware of, that I was just like, that I felt like you still, again, where you say you extended grace, because that person, I had said that to you, would have been gone off of my closer friend's thing. So I was just like, okay, now you've kind of drawn the line, but I guess I was trying to figure out what level of line it was. Was it a double line, or it was just a line of like, hey, we're not going to be close, but if it has to do with maybe this, and this, we can still interact. So that was where my question stemmed from.
Right. So Deb had asked me, could the person be a part of my event? And I said no. And I'll tell you the reason why I said no. Because, I have been in corporate for years. And, when you're in a corporate situation, you have to play nice with people, right? Like, because you can't choose your coworkers. You can't choose the people you work with. The company chooses it, but this is my company. You know what I mean? So, like I'm sorry. Not really sorry, but this is I get to choose who I want to work with. Yeah. And if, again, like back to what I initially said, if I can't treat you how I would treat you naturally, and it takes more effort for me to be nice, or I don't even like the word nice. I feel like niceness, people can play nice for a temporary situation. Yeah, I want to be seen as a kind person because I feel like kindness is instilled in you. You could be kind and you can have also other attributes as well, right? But I did not want to have, like, you, first of all, you prove yourself to be an unsafe person with me. And you've hurt people around me and you've made my environments very uncomfortable with people. So in that moment, no, the boundary, and they asked me, can I still be a part of it? And I said, let me give it some thought. But it was a no. Because like I had created safe spaces for women.
I got you.
I created safe spaces for entrepreneurs, and you were making those spaces for me uncomfortable and people around those spaces uncomfortable for me. So as a result, I would be doing a disservice to myself and the things that I've worked so hard to build. And I build these type of areas and these type of groups because they're not like, you know how they always talk about, oh, women are catty and they this and they that. Nah, I'm a narrative changer. I change the narrative. That's what I do. I work hard to make sure people don't feel like they're being used or whatever. Like, because so I know what that feels like to be outcasted now because now somebody don't like you or whatever the situation. So I'm very careful and strategic on building certain type of environments so that doesn't take place. So when you bring those things to something that I've worked hard to change, I can't really, it's an insult to what I'm trying to do. And I've already kind of talked to you about these things or whatever. It's like, now I'm cool without you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you good, and you've done a level of stuff now that if you need to, go to your own way. Like, you know what I'm saying? Go your own way, build your own thing. And one thing about me when it comes to people, I do as much as I can for people before I be like, yo, I'm out of here. So I don't lose sleep at night from disconnected with people.
No, I don't think anybody should.
I don't. Like, if the time is up, if the expiration is up, and a lot of people like, how can you detach like that? Because what people don't understand is that while you're doing things that are like not good, like, or negative to the relationship, I've already been processing this.
Oh yeah, well,
like, it doesn't happen at the time of the offense. It happens the whole time. I'm watching you. I'm evaluating you. I always evaluate my friendships. Like, all the time. It's almost like refreshing a page to me. Like, a lot.
I think you should, though.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't, because they're just like, oh, we've been friends for 5 years. Okay. What in 5 years about us makes it dope? I was so dope. Adia did a reel for my birthday. I was like, whoa, it told a story, and we've done so many amazing things together, like, personally, professionally, just, wow. I can look at that friendship and say, whoa, I see it. I can look at our friendship and see where it started to see where it is now. Those things are important to me. Are you a floater? I don't want no floaters around me. Like, you just passing on the way. Like, no, nah. I don't want no floaters. Like, I don't, because you like dead weight in the boat. Like, nah. I need people who are evolving, who want more, because if I'm in a space that I don't want more for myself, you on the other end pushing me to get, and vice versa.
And vice versa.
Like, I feel like right now you're probably way more motivated than I am currently.
Really?
Yes, I'm more motivated by you. Heck yeah, you already know. Yo, 2022 started off a little. 2022 started off a little ghetto for me. But
it's definitely ghetto for me.
But Deb has been motivating me. Like, and there was a point that when we met, like, I motivated you more. Yeah. But right now, where you are, I'm in a still place because I'm trying to figure out some things, right?
Yeah. I mean,
but
I just feel like you're evolving. So that evolution looks.
It's personally right now, my more than professionally or business wise, I'm evolving me.
You're evolving.
But I love to see that, even though I'm still in certain areas, and people could probably tell, like, right now I am kind of like in cruise control. But, like, with you, like, you're, like, out here, you're motivated, but you're keeping me motivated. Like, honestly, guys, I was supposed to write my ebook a year ago, but I didn't do it. But seeing Deb do it, I was like, yo, all right, Deb, thank you. And I told you, I was like, yo, thank you so much for, like really just helping me and inspiring me.
Yeah, we all need people around us that's constantly growing and changing in places, because it's like, it reminds you of, like, hey, I was supposed to do blah, 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 blah. Now I have the light back on of doing that.
And most people that I disconnect with are stuck. They're stuck people. Like, they're not willing to, like, move and stuff like that. Like, I remember, and when we talk about boundaries, I remember someone I disconnected with, like, yo, I have only wanted your best interest, right? I've never told you to do anything that wasn't for your best interest, right? But for whatever reason, these last few things, it's almost like you think I'm against you. And that's offensive to me. Like, you get what I'm saying? Because,
I think that's just that person's insecurity.
Absolutely. Oh, definitely. Yeah. But it was just like, yo, like, and my boundary is, I'm not feeding that. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, if you feel that way, you got to feel that way. Yeah. But it's not my job. But it's not my job, and that's my boundary. It's not my job to make you think otherwise, because I've proven who I am already. Yeah. If you can't see that, that's your work. And that's another thing that I'm very clear on. You got to do your own work. I could be an example to you. I could tell you stuff. I could do all of these things. But if you're not ready to change, what I'm supposed to do, you know?
So what would you tell the listeners that are listening that are struggling with setting boundaries, and how boundary settings make you feel? Because I think you get. I was about to say, I think as a person who has had to set boundaries, even with people that I really love, and said no. Like, I've lost relationships that I would have rather kept, right? but it's an uncomfortable space. So what would you say?
I would always say just honor what you truly feel. Like, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It hurts. It's nauseating when this stuff happens, but it's just like with anything. Think about when you go on a stage, right? And you're about to say your monologue and you're nervous. It's that nervous feeling. But as soon as you get the first few words out, you're like, whew, I did this. You know, and you feel good about yourself at the end, because boundaries are not meant to hurt people. They're meant to honor you.
Yeah.
They are. And of course, if you obviously just to respond, it's not your responsibility how people respond to something that makes you your best self.
Yeah.
You know, and you have to be okay with people not like accepting it and
not
thinking like, yo, like, it's people that I thought they was coming with me to the top, but they not here no more. I love them. I still got love for them. I thank them for the time, but if the time is up, I'm cool with that. And guess what? I'm still elevating. Life still went on. And it still goes on for them too.
Yeah. I love that. I would say, don't worry so much about being misunderstood.
Yes.
It's one of the biggest things that I struggle with, of like feeling like at times, especially people that were really close to me, that they had to understand why that was uncomfortable for me. And I was just like, it doesn't matter. It's just uncomfortable for me. I don't need to explain to you why that is. And if you love me enough, like, and you understand, whether you understand or not, but you love me enough to understand my misunderstanding, I guess, so to speak, like, you'll just let that fly. Like, you know what? It makes her uncomfortable, so I don't want to do anything that makes her uncomfortable. I don't want her to do anything that makes her uncomfortable. And again, I lost old, young, all types of people that I was just like, really? And it didn't feel good. It didn't feel good. But let me tell you something.
But you all right now.
I was about to say, it all works for your good. And look, I'm so glad that
it brings better people, bro.
I was about to say, I
lost 2 friends and got like a really dope one and replaced for both of them.
I was about to say, I think for me, it opened up space for better partnerships that at the time I thought I had or thought I would have with those people, and it opened up better spaces for other people to come in and divine partnerships to come in. Yeah.
Love it.
I love it, and I love you.
It's evolving. I love you.
It is a wrap, y'all. Y'all get your boundaries in place and go ahead and get that book. It's available 3-3.
3-3.
We'll see you next week.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.